My name is Emily Carter, and until recently, I believed my life was exactly where it was supposed to be. I had a respectable job as a corporate lawyer at one of the largest firms in New York. I was engaged to Michael Thompson, a successful businessman admired by everyone. We were the perfect couple in society's eyes. But perfection is an illusion. I had always been the obedient daughter, the woman who made the right choices. Since I was a child, my mother taught me that love came after stability, that intense feelings were fleeting, but a structured life was forever. And I believed that, until that night in Chicago. I was in the city for a conference, and after a long day of meetings and presentations, I felt an overwhelming need to go out, to do something out of the ordinary. That's when I found that small jazz bar, hidden between the city's old buildings. The bar had warm, intimate lighting and a subtle scent of aged wood. On stage, a man was playing the piano, but he wasn't just playing, he was feeling the music, as if each note carried a piece of his soul. His fingers moved across the keys with such emotion that I got chills. I had never seen anyone play like that. I had never felt this kind of connection to something so simple and, at the same time, so powerful. He seemed lost in his own universe, completely unaware of the world around him. And for the first time in years, I wanted to get lost too. When the performance ended, I went to the bar to order a drink. That's when he approached me. "Do you like jazz?" I turned to him, trying not to look nervous. "I like the way you play. It feels personal." He laughed softly, as if he had heard that before. "Music is everything I don't know how to say in words." He extended his hand. "I'm Jake. Emily." We shook hands, and in that instant, I felt an electric shock run through my body. Something inside me told me this moment was not just a coincidence. I stayed in Chicago for a few more days, and to my own surprise, I spent every night at that bar, or rather, with Jake. We talked about everything. He told me about his travels around the world, about how music was his true home. I told him about my life in New York, about my wedding that was about to happen, about the weight of my family's expectations. And with him, I felt free. He looked at me in a different way, not like Michael, who always seemed to evaluate whether I fit into his life. Jake looked at me as if he was trying to figure me out, as if he wanted to understand every part of me. And with each passing day, something inside me started to crumble. On my last night before my flight, we went for a walk around the city. Chicago glowed with its lights and its sharp wind, but everything else felt secondary. Then he stopped and looked at me. "Are you happy, Emily?" I was silent. No one had ever asked me that before. I was supposed to be happy. I had everything. But for the first time, I realized I didn't know the answer. Jake gave me a small smile and held my hand for a brief moment. "If you ever want to find out, look for me." The next morning, I returned to New York. But I left something behind. In the following days, I tried to return to my normal life. Michael took me to pick out the wedding invitations. My mother made adjustments to my dress. My friends talked about the party, the honeymoon, the bright future I had ahead. And everything felt suffocating. I read Jake's messages and felt my heart beat faster. Then, a few days before the wedding, he sent me a voice message. His voice was low, almost a whisper. "Come to Paris with me, just for a while. Forget everything. Let's live for real." My whole body went cold. At that moment, I knew I was facing a choice that would change my life forever. But how could I leave Michael? How could I disappoint my family, abandon everything I had built, and at the same time, how could I spend the rest of my life wondering, what if? The wedding was set for the following Saturday. On Friday night, I looked at my dress hanging in front of me. It was perfect, but it didn't feel like mine. My phone vibrated. There's still time. I'm waiting for you at the station. My heart raced. I looked at the clock. The night was moving forward, and suddenly, I knew. I grabbed my bag and ran out the door. The cold wind cut through my skin as I ran through the streets of New York. My chest rose and fell. My breath was unsteady. I could hear my own mind screaming, "You've lost your mind. Go back home. Go to sleep. Tomorrow is your wedding." But my feet didn't stop. When I reached the station, my heart nearly jumped out of my chest when I saw him. Jake was there, holding 2 tickets. His eyes met mine, and a smile appeared at the corner of his lips. "You came." The train's whistle echoed. I looked at him. I looked at the train, at everything I was about to leave behind. My legs trembled. My thoughts screamed. But then Jake, too.